The University of North Alabama has been educating students in the music and entertainment industry since 1975. One of the first programs of its kind in the country, and the first in the state of Alabama. We've got a lot to be proud of as we celebrate the program's 50th anniversary. We want to share some of the alumni and their UNA stories.
I think I seek out that feeling when I leave the classroom that I feel when I leave a stage. When I know, okay, I was prepared, I did what I came here to do, they enjoyed it, they got something out of it. I want that. Hey, I'm John Paul White, and this is my UNA story. I was born here in the Shoals and grew up in Loretto, Tennessee, just across the state line, and was there until after high school and then moved back to the Shoals. So I've never lived outside of 30 miles. I had really no one in my family that had chased the music thing other than some aunts that played organ in the church. And my dad was a great singer, but he was just around the house yodeling and goofing off. And so I really didn't have anybody that I would, could bounce ideas off of. But to be fair, growing up in a little town like that, I never dreamed I'd get to do this for a living. I've been the most fortunate person ever, but when you grow up in a town that small, sometimes it felt like Muscle Shoals was a million miles away, just being across that state line. So I just kept doing it because I loved it, and never really fully believed I could do it for a living until I came back to the University of North Alabama and got my degree. I went to the University of North Alabama in 1990 after I graduated high school. And I was trying to work 3 jobs and take care of a child and a wife, and it just got to be too much. And I dropped out after about a year and a half. And it was 5 years of me playing up and down the state line, trying to get somebody to pay attention to me and trying to make it. And decided I wasn't getting anywhere and decided to come back to school. And I had wanted to do that for multiple reasons. On my dad's side of the family, no one had ever graduated from college. I was more mature and really hungry and really looked forward to going back to school and being in classes and learning again. But also was aware of the entertainment industry management degree. And it really had new lifeblood with Dr. Collins coming in from Belmont and revitalizing the program, and then Miss Malone coming. And it immediately felt right. We're talking about pre-internet, pre-cable, pre-any of that, pre-cell phones. So I had no info other than what I had gleaned from my friends. Publishing, PR, production, any of that stuff, completely clueless. So it was a little different time that if I wanted that info, I had to get it from class. While here at UNA, Miss Malone introduced me to Walt Aldridge. And so I interned with Walt because of the intro that Miss Malone gave me, and wrote all summer, got one song that he liked enough and EMI liked enough to do a demo, and they signed a per song deal for that one song. And most of me thought, this is probably as far as I'm gonna get. Some of me thought this is the beginning of a massive career, but most of me was like, well, this was cool. If I'll always have this and be able to show it to my kids. But by the end of the year, they wanted to sign me to a straight deal with them and Walt's time, and Walt being my mentor. So I didn't have to leave the Shoals at all, thankfully. And as that was happening, he was getting holds and he was getting cuts and he was making records. And so when you have somebody like that in your orbit, you listen. I just absorbed every single thing he said, and I still quote him to this day. So I definitely wouldn't be here if it weren't for him. or maybe in a much lesser fashion, because I owe him a lot. My first songwriting class here was Brad Chrysler ran that, and it was perfect timing because Miss Malone had given some of my material to Walt. Brad was the first signee of Walt's at Walt's time, and so I had his class, and he would, after class, he'd be like, "Hey man, Walt likes what you're doing. Keep doing it. You've definitely impressed him, or you've got his attention." That was also a class that I knew it was what I was supposed to do. Once I was in the room with someone that did it for a living, and he would tell us the reasons he does what he does and his methodology, and I thought, this is my person. These are my people. This is the language I speak, and so it felt like I was home. The best experience I had at UNA was my internship with Walt Aldridge at Walt's time. I mean, there were so many small moments that happened before that. Taking Brad Chrysler's songwriting class was huge. Taking Miss Malone's record company operations and publishing classes, things that I knew nothing about. I loved that. But overall, probably the thing I think about the most is either that internship or the friendships that I had here. People I still stay in touch with, and a lot of people from my graduating class are close by, went into the business and had positions in high places. So it was a pretty successful crop of graduates, and we all fed off each other and cheered for each other. And I really remember that. I think there's a lot of things about this program that makes it special. I think where the university is here in the Shoals, with all the history of what has happened here, a lot of those people that were a big part of that history are still here. I mean, you still just bump into them walking down the street. You know, there's so many examples around you of people that are in the business and making a living doing it. You know, from engineers to guitar techs to songwriters. My advice about getting into this industry, this type of career, is don't do it. But if you can't, if everything in you is pointing toward this, if you cannot be denied, if you cannot imagine life without either creating or helping people create, or, navigating through this business, you got to put both feet in all the time, every single day. You got to be a little crazy, and if you are, you need to come see us, and we can help.